Simon and I'm a Misfit.
And I'm Adam and I'm a Misfit too.
So welcome back to our instructional video series of how to create a cement sculpture of a pensioner sitting on a rock feeding birds from his hands. We're now at the cement phase, and I don't know about you, Adam, but I'm pretty excited.
I'm super excited, Simon. Like all the work that we put in now is coming together, and now it's time for the real fun to start.
Exactly. So before we jump in and show you how to apply cement to the metal armature that we've built, we want to show you a thing or two about mixing the cement with the sand. So when working with cement, we recommend wearing latex gloves. Cement is a corrosive material and it can do damage to your hands after a bit of exposure. So the ratio we're going to use, we take 1 part of cement and we want to combine that with 2 parts of sand. Okay, we give that a nice mix together. It's really important to mix it really well so you've got a consistent mix. So don't fill your bucket more than halfway, otherwise it'll be very difficult to get in there and mix everything up properly. Now we've experimented with all kinds of different mixes, all kinds of different ratios of sand to cement. 2 to 1 is our recommendation. Any more sand, it gets very difficult to work with, plus the cement is not as strong. And any more cement, even though it can be tempting because it's nice and workable, it's a lot easier to work with, it presents other issues, it's more prone to cracking, and that's the main reason. So we have our cement combined with sand. The next question is, how much water do we add?
How much water do we add, Simon?
Well, that's a good question, Adam, and I'm glad you asked. It's not such a simple thing because it depends on factors such as how much humidity is in the air and also how much humidity is actually in the sand. So we're not going to give you a measurement, but instead we're going to show you the consistency of the cement that you're going to aim for, and that way you can get it right every time. So add a little bit of water at first and start mixing. And you want to make sure you're collecting the dry bits from the bottom as well and moving them up to mix around. That's not too much. So a good way of gauging the right quantity of water you've added, you pick up a bit of cement and roll it into a ball. You've got a nice mixture right there. As a general principle, the less water you add, the better. The more you dilute the mix, the weaker the cement will be. But this is a really nice workable mixture right here.
Okay guys, let's get ready to cement. So, the first thing we did was put a layer of plastic down underneath our sculpture. That way we don't make a mess on the surface that's underneath. So we're going to cement all the surfaces that are hard to reach on the sculpture first. So we're going to flip the sculpture on its side. And we're going to start with the bottom of the rock. So I'm going to show you guys the proper technique to apply cement on our sculpture. So we're going to take some cement out of the bucket, and then we're going to level it off till it's about 1 centimeter thick. We take our cement and we press it against and wiggle our spatula and then slide it off. What we're going for is to cover the mesh without pushing the cement through. So just like this. And then you keep going until all your surface is covered. So on that last one, it was coming off my spatula a little bit hard, so I'm going to just dip my spatula in some water. Throw some cement on there, about 1 centimeter thick, and then it just slides right off. You can also take some water and blend everything a little bit together. And what we're aiming for is to cover all of the metal in a way that there's no metal exposed. Like this is a perfect coat right here. You can't see any of the wire mesh underneath, and spots like this will need some more cement. Now as you're working with your cement, it will start to get a little bit dry in your bucket, and you can just periodically add a little water, give it a good mix, and it'll be just like new once again.
We've applied the first coat of cement to the base of the rock. We've come over a little bit, so it gives us a nice bit of cement to join up to when we come and do the side. And as Adam explained, our focus right now is doing all of the areas where we can't do, where he's sitting in the right position. That includes under the feet, any difficult areas to reach, such as the chest, parts of the face. We're going to try and do as much as we can while he's in this position.
Now one more thing to keep in mind is when we finished our small mesh, we went over everything and secured all our loose prongs, but as we were putting the cement on, we noticed that there was a loose prong sticking up right here. So you can either tie those down or just snip them off so they're not sticking through the cement.
This foot, because we've put a bit of weight underneath now, it wants to sag a little bit. So the best thing to do is just find a prop that you can just rest the foot on, and that's going to stop it from sagging. So as you see, we have applied cement on the underside of the whole sculpture, plus a little bit on the front of the rock. That's going to help us in terms of structure to turn it back the right way once the cement's dry. Cover it in plastic to help it cure. We're going to let it dry for at least a couple of days. Then it's going to be strong enough to very carefully turn it over.
Okay guys, it's been 2 days, and now we're coming back to cement the rest of the sculpture. Now we put him back in his upright position, and when we did so we were super careful because the cement's only been drying for 2 days and it hasn't quite cured yet. The rule of thumb is generally that it takes about 28 days to cure and really solidify.
So what you'll find once we've completed the first coat of cement, this sculpture is going to be really, really heavy. So if you don't have a super big, strong guy like Adam, what I suggest is you move him to the site you're going to leave him, where he'll be sitting ultimately. That way it saves you having to carry him later on. Also, as we get to each stage, we're going to fix the hat to the head. We have the birds still. When we get to the hands, I'm going to show you how to attach the birds to the hands.
Yeah, so we're just going to continue on with the first coat everywhere that you see mesh.
We know the bird is going on the shoulder, but we don't want to attach the mesh bird to the mesh shoulder until we finish this layer of cement, because there's about 1/2 centimetre of cement right here. and that's going to bury the bird by the time we start cementing. So what you can see here is we've attached a couple of wires. What these wires allow us to do is to cement over everything and have these two popping up so we can insert the bird and attach the bird to the wires and cement the bird afterwards. You want to pay attention to spots such as under the sleeve where there is a hole. If you look underneath, we just want to fill that hole up so there's no holes into the sculpture so moisture can't get in, and the best way of doing that is if you take a clump of cement, just with your fingers, you can pack it in.
Okay guys, now it's time to cement the hands. So as of right now, it looks like the fingers are very far apart, but you guys have to remember we're going to put 2 coats of cement on these fingers, which is going to bring them together. And so you want to make sure that you fill the hands with cement because you have very brittle fingers and you want everything to lock together. So you just take some cement and just pack it in, and you can use your fingers or you can use a tool and your hands. Now it's very important to do a very thorough job on the fingers. It might take a little bit of time, but it will really help you on your second coat.
Okay, and I've just attached the bird, and as far as cementing him, because he's so small, it's just as easy to pack the cement in the bird in the same way we're doing the fingers. So I found the weight of the cement was making this side of the hat sag a little bit, which can happen sometimes if there's a bit of weight on the mesh. And what you see I've done, I've just run a little wire from the rim to the top of the hat just to hold it in place. That's something that we can snip off later on once the cement dries.
Finished the first coat of cement on our sculpture. Now in the next video we're going to do all the fine detail work and really bring them to life. Until then, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and we will
see you next time.